This is a super informal video talking about how we at Spider Strategies use AI just all day, every day to solve a million problems. And the main takeaway from this is that AI is not something you have to be a super hardcore software nerd or anything to use. It's a general set of tools that anybody who can use a spreadsheet or email or something like that can use. The biggest takeaway is that AI has a whole bunch of different models, and this model's good at this thing, this model's good at this thing, and you just have to play with them and use them as building blocks. Say, hey, try this in this model, it doesn't work so well, try it in this model. I've heard people who aren't experts in AI said, oh, I asked AI that question and it made up an answer. It's called hallucination. Well, yeah, of course, because you asked this model that specializes in this type of thing and it didn't do a very good job. But if you want a hardcore scientific answer that can't be wrong, you got to use this style of technique. So this is what this video is about. AI changes constantly. I guarantee you by the time you watch this video, even if it's a few weeks from now, something has changed. So I'm going to talk about general concepts, and I am going to cover specific models, but I'm more going to talk about the types of things that we've had really good luck with AI. I've got some loose notes here. I'm going to click through them really fast, but I haven't practiced any of this stuff. I'm sure something's going to go wrong, and that's kind of the fun is to learn how to recover from problems. Okay, so the general thing with AI is you got to pick a model. I really like Claude. It's my favorite. There's some people like ChatGPT. I like Claude because ChatGPT sometimes gets lazy. It sometimes it sometimes like tries to take the easy way out and stuff. Claude is better at writing, and a lot of my tasks involve writing. And so, all of these things work for different purposes. There's different types of modes. You can put it in deep research mode. You can put it in thinking mode, all these kinds of things. But let's just talk in general about the model. So I need to explain the explain the Bronze Award to a bunch of fifth grade Girl Scouts. And and this is a real problem. My wife, who runs a Girl Scout troop, came up with, and we had AI talk about what it means and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so this is fine. This is a pretty good you know answer, but you can say actually, because that was a set of bullet points. This is actually make it a short speech I have to give them. Okay, hey, hello, juniors. I want to talk about something, the Bronze Award. It's the highest. And so that's really, really helpful. Is you just like a little thing. And so this is what you would use a generic general AI model for. Claude 3.7 Sonnet's the one I currently use, but there's also Chat GPT 4, no, not 4.0. 4.1 is like, oh, actually 4.0 is great for most tasks. Yeah, so that's their generic model they use. And you could do the same thing. You say, I need to explain the Bronze Award to a bunch of Girl Scouts. It's never going to miss this one. This is a softball question. Here's a simple, it's the highest award a Girl Scout junior can earn. What can you do? Blah, 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 blah. And then you say, oh, actually, make it a short speech I have to give them. I'm going to stop it and I'm going to send that over. And it's going to give you a pretty similar result, right? So that's an incredibly common type of thing. What I will often do, I use Claude, and I've got subscriptions to all these things. I highly recommend just at least getting like a $20 a month subscription to Claude or ChatGPT. It'll save you way, way more than $20 a month. So the voice model that's my favorite is ChatGPT 4.0's voice model, and so when I'm on a walk with my dog or something, I just bounce ideas and I brainstorm with this thing. And so, I would, you can talk however you want. So you're like, hey, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear. What's up?
So I don't follow college sports super closely. What's this whole thing with college athletes getting paid now?
Sure. So, college athletes can now make money off their name, image, and likeness, often called NIL. This means they can sign endorsement deals, partner with
Wait,
brands,
I
and
thought
get
that was
paid.
illegal. When did that law change?
against the rules, but that changed in July 2021. The NCAA and a bunch of states started allowing
So,
athletes to
which
post.
athlete makes the most amount of money from NIL?
One of the top earners is Bronny James. LeBron
I don't
James
want to
is
know one. I want to know the top. I make sure to search the web for that.
According to On3, Arch Manning, a quarterback for the Texas Longhorns, has the highest NIL valuation among college athletes, estimated at $6.6 million.
So that's the kind of stuff. I mean, I won't do NIL stuff, but I'll just come up with concepts like, hey, there's this new concept I heard about. Just talk back and forth with it. Now, this model is not smarter than me. This model is like, like high school freshman level intelligence. So its ability to like synthesize ideas is pretty good, but you're not going to have like an incredibly intelligent conversation. But what it has access to is the world's information. So you can kind of just go back and forth and bounce ideas off of it. And again, it has incredible knowledge, encyclopedic knowledge, and it can do the searches. But its way of synthesizing, like taking a whole bunch of different ideas from whole different things and coming up with novel concepts, that's a little bit weaker. That is a different type of model. Now, GPT-4o will hallucinate to you. It'll make stuff up confidently if it doesn't know the answer. And so there's other types of models to do that. So let's talk a little bit more about Claude here. So again, these are all different tools that you layer on top of each other, right? And so here's a tool I use. There's all kinds of AI style apps. It's not just websites. There's a tool called Super Whisper, and what it can do is it will take whatever voice stuff you're saying to it and record your voice, but then it sends that off to another AI model, and it removes all the ums and the ahs. And if you say actually, it removes the ahs and the ums, and then it'll send that off to the model. And so let's see what it comes up with. Look at that. If you say actually, it removes the ahs and the ums. Oh, no, I guess it got both of them. But that's kind of weird. That's kind of meta information. So you can do all kinds of great prompts without actually having to type everything out. And it's just like a million little tools like that. And so that's what I'm encouraging folks to do is just play with AI, play with all the tools out there, learn about the kind of stuff, and just use these things to piggyback on top of each other. And that's all this video is going to be about. So let's say... So I want to create a weekly newsletter. I'm a hiking aficionado. I really like hiking, and I want to create a newsletter about hiking. So first, I want you to write me an AI prompt that I am going to use to generate my weekly post. I'm going to reuse this post every single week, and so make sure to put a placeholder in there for the actual topic. So this is going to be a detailed post that I'm going to, or a detailed prompt that I'm going to give an AI, and then I'm going to fill in the little topic in there, and it's going to, reuse this prompt with a different topic every week. So the general idea is I want the tone of the article to be conversational. This is an email thing. I want it to be inspirational. I want to encourage people to get out there and hike. Most importantly, I want it to be timely. Every single week, I'm going to be generating these things, and I want new content. I want content to reference current events in hiking, latest trends. Any controversies that come up, whatever. I want this thing when a newsletter comes out, and if there was some hiking story earlier in the week, it should incorporate that hiking story. And it's going to take that whole long thing and clean it up a bit. And so I'm using AI on top of AI. And now I'm going to write my prompt. I couldn't connect to Claude. So you get this kind of stuff sometimes. Okay. Attention grabbing introduction, 1 to 2 paragraphs, timely hiking news section, featured topic deep dive. That's not correct. I wasn't super clear there. I don't actually want there to be a section about the latest news or whatever. I want this thing to be a story, about I want this thing to have a particular topic. I'm just saying if there are timely things related to that topic to weave it in. If it the current month, whatever the current month is, maybe there's a specific thing related to that happening in the region or whatever. It's going to be different. I don't need their. I want the timeliness to be woven into the flow of the story or the article. You see how I just said at the end, into the flow of the story or the article. I kind of stammered at the end there. It removed all that and cleaned all that up. I think Claude is experiencing some slowness. Let's try again. Okay. So it's going to rewrite and work on my outline. So again, I am using AI stacked on top of AI stacked on top of AI. We're going to rewrite this thing. All right. About specific topic for the week. This newsletter, blah, blah, blah. Content guidelines. It's still working. Okay. Thanks, Claude. I really appreciate your hard work. All right, let's assume this is correct. I would obviously would review all this work, but I'm sure it's fine. Okay. So here's something that's important. I've been typing into the Claude prompts. I don't actually usually type my prompts in there. I use an app called Bear. There's a million apps like this, and I save little things here. And this stuff is written in a format called Markdown. You see, there's a title here. There's like a headline level 2. There's bulleted lists and stuff. I'm going to copy this, download as Markdown, and I'm going to open this Markdown file. And this is just a text file, and this is what it looks like. Let's pull it up and just plain text. Okay, this is what this stuff looks like if you just were to paste it in Microsoft Word or stuff. It's human readable. You see here, there's like a hash, and then that's the title, and then a paragraph, and then here's a double hash. That's the second level headline. Triple hash, third level headline, and then bulleted lists look like that. Numbered lists look like numbers. So it's all in a very specific format, but it's human readable. So when you copy and paste that into an app like Bear, again, you don't have to do this, but I like to keep my prompts around because I reuse them over and over again. This is prompt for newsletter. And I'm going to paste that in, and it's going to be a prompt for my newsletter. So, just like this, if I hit the hash, the pound sign and hit space, it's going to, turn that into a title. So this is formatted Markdown. This is my post. This is a placeholder about specific topic for this week, etc. Okay. About the specific topic for this week. I'm just going to make it easier. And then I'm going to say, create a newsletter post about this topic. And I'm going to do dash, 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 turns it into a horizontal line. Dash, 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 closes the horizontal line. And this just lets AI know that something new is going in that box. And these are just little tips and tricks that people develop over time. This works really well for me. So I'm going to paste the topic in there. And then here's the rest of the prompt. So this is how I'm going to create my blog post every month. And then I'm going to talk to Claude. I'm going to start a new chat. And it's got a research mode. I want to use extended thinking mode. And it's just going to think a little bit longer about this. And I'm going to say, I am starting a newsletter about hiking. I want you to create me a schedule of topics, a unique topic for 52 weeks, for the next year. These topics should be varied about hiking and kind of like for example, maybe it's hiking in a particular region, North Germany, or I'm in the boundary waters in northern Minnesota, or latest gear, or a certain controversy. Well, you wouldn't know it, but never mind. Don't do a controversy. Like like, just like topics related to hiking and what they could be. I want them to be fairly unique, but obviously there's going to be a little bit of overlap because there's probably not 52 completely unique topics. And so I want you to spread out the things that are similar. For example, if 10% of my posts are about a particular region, don't do 10 regions back to back. Do a region here, then talk about gear, then do something else, then talk about a particular region again. So that's a lot of information to throw at the AI, but it's going to do just fine with it. And obviously, if I actually was starting a hikers thing, I would put a lot more thought into this, right? But like you can just see in general how it does a pretty good job, and if you put a little more thought, it's going to get even better. So let's talk about my schedule, and it's going to go off and do some thinking. Again, Claude's pretty good. This is a deep thinking model, so this isn't actually writing. So actually, I might take this model and I might throw this at a really smart model. O3 it's not a particularly good writer, but it's very intelligent. It's like PhD level smarts, and so it can think about concepts a little bit better. So if I was going to create, I actually probably would use O3 for this one. And again, I highly recommend doing a bunch of models. So if you want to do a task, just throw it 2 or 3 models and figure out which one does stuff better. Because part of the fun of this and part of how you learn is just experimenting with different stuff. So here's a 52-week hike schedule that Claude came up with. Hiking photography, spotlight region, New Zealand. I mean, this is awesome. I want to read this newsletter. Quarter 4, fall hiking, embracing the changing weather and shorter days. I don't know. This is actually pretty good. Um, so let's see how O3 is handling it. Thought for 20 seconds, blows a 52-week topic with a brief angle. Region, intro to Alpine Meadows. Gear, how to choose the ultralight backpack, blah, blah, blah. Skill and training, story, history, safety, and then region, then fitness and health and gear. So it's going subject based. So it was much more logical about how it did it. I don't know. This is actually pretty good. I'm going to go with O3. Okay. So let's do, that's my topic. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to copy that table. I'm going to go back over to my markdown thing. I'm just going to save this for later and say this is 52 weeks of hiking. That is great. So now let's have Claude do this, but we're going to go back to Claude and we're going to start a new chat and we're going to turn on research mode. Deep research mode is amazing. You can actually go off and have this thing do a whole bunch of research, a whole bunch of web searches, and then write up a topic for you. And it's really exciting. So I pasted that information in. This is the prompt we put together that said, create a newsletter post about this topic, and then it pasted this week's topic in, and then it's got a really detailed you know post there and set of instructions. So I wrote all those instructions to Claude. Here's write a post about this topic, blah blah blah. And so Claude, with research turned on, is going to go out there. Again, the reason why we want research turned on is because you want to catch timely things. And so Claude, anytime you have deep research turned on in any of these models, they're going to ask you follow-up questions because it's expensive and it takes a long time to run in the background and they don't want to waste their money. Would you like me to include specific trail recommendations? Do you want me to include any practical information like difficulty levels, any special flora, fauna, whatever? Use your best judgment. And then it'll go off and do it. Sometimes those clarifying questions are great, but the thing is, I gave it some very explicit instructions. It did not need any more information. And so if you ever do deep research, this thing is going to go off and do, it's going to take a while. And sometimes your clarifying questions help. Okay. It's doing my research plan. Claude is amazing for writing, and you can follow along logically. It tells its chain of thought as it goes along and creates its research plan. Claude is really good for writing, but what other types of research are there? O3, like I said, is the best in the world for doing deep research and doing really a good thought. So if I'm going to have it go off and write a report for me, the report that comes back might not be written super well. It'll have some parts that are a little bit repetitive. And again, I wouldn't hand it in as like an essay or something. I would probably run it through Claude. But the research and its ability to think critically about some stuff is pretty amazing. So here's some examples of what you might do with O3. This by far is my favorite model of all. It's changed the way I work. I just run everything through O3. It's like having a buddy that's really smart to do research for me constantly. I'm running literally dozens of these things a day. My daughter is just getting into volleyball. She's 13. She's not super good yet, but it's her sport. She really likes it. We live in Northern Virginia in Arlington, right near McLean, and I'm wondering, are there any clinics? What types of things can I do to get my daughter better at volleyball? I'd like contact information. I'd like links to any websites. Let's get my girl good at volleyball. And so it's going to go off and find all the clinics in the area, all the private coaches, all that kind of stuff. Use your best judgment. All right. That's working hard. How about O3 deep research? I wanted this. I just inherited a fair amount of money, and I'm wondering if I can do any really targeted investments with it. I own a software company. I'm very good with tech. My wife's ear, nose, and throat doctor, and I'm wondering if there are any companies out there looking for angel funding. Early seed round check kind of thing, where we could get involved and use our skills to help the company, but also make a smart investment. No, that's not actually true. I actually didn't inherit any money, but all the other stuff is true. Uh, for the first one, I don't know. Let's say I can spend up to $200,000. For the second one, well, just stuff related to our careers. Anything for me, it's like AI or software. For my wife, it's medicine. Specifically ear, nose, and throat related stuff. Um, for three, I'm not really interested in global opportunities. I'd much more rather have it US based just for investment laws and stuff. Um, for four, I kind of want to keep it open. Yes, obviously it'd be great for companies seeking investments now, but anybody likely to want to do a seed or an angel round would be excited. And for five, I can't do Series A. Series A is too late, but anything seed, pre-seed, angel, that kind of stuff. So in that situation, this was actually kind of helpful. It asked some clarifying questions that might make the search results a little better. Let's do one more. I own a software company called Spider Strategies. We've been doing a really good job expanding into the Middle East because our software has the first right to left language support. So it renders Arabic, with a full user interface, right to left, and it's been a huge differentiator for us in the region. We're looking to expand into Eastern Europe. We don't have a lot of Eastern Europe companies um, or Eastern Europe resellers. I'm wondering if you can do some research and find strategy consulting organizations in the region. I don't want super small mom and pop shops. I'm looking for like 50 employees or more. And again, they have to be experts in strategy execution because they're going to be reselling our software in the region. Please find the names of the companies, maybe URLs for the websites, um, LinkedIn profiles for any high level people in the company, that kind of stuff. I'd like to reach out to them. So it's probably going to ask me about spider strategies, and I'm going to tell it that's what you have Google for. Any countries? I mean, no. Would you prefer anything? Use your best judgment. So those three are off. All right, let's go back to the alpine skiing. We've got our document. It's done. Dawn magic when alpine meadows come alive. It's 5:45 a.m. and I'm standing breathless. This is super dishonest. I would not I would not do a newsletter like this, but it's pretty interesting what it's able to do. All around me, a carpet of wildflowers, blah blah blah. And this is, references to different things and finding perfect alpine morning. The meadow lies about this many meters. So it's actually done a bunch of research and found alpine trails and talking about May hiking because it's currently May 16th, right? And I would remove a bunch of these references, but they put these references in there to show you that this is not making stuff up. This is from actual, it's done, dozens and dozens. It's found 382 sources and it's used its PhD level intellect to, synthesize all these things together into a narrative. So I'm super excited about this. Until then, happy trails. Okay. All right. This is wonderful. I absolutely love this thing. The last thing I need is this is perfect. I'm ready to put this out on my newsletter, but I need your help writing a prompt for an AI image generator to generate a hero image to go on top of this post. I don't think it really matters the specific image generator I'm using. Just give me a good solid post. Use your best judgment. Match the blog post content or match the image to the blog post content. So what's happening in here is I still have it in deep research mode. It doesn't need to be doing deep research. I should have unclicked that. So hopefully it'll good. It didn't. It realized it didn't need to do a whole bunch of research. I should have unclicked this deep research. That's why it asked some very clarifying questions. So I'm not even going to read this thing. I'm going to go to my other AI model that I paid for, Midjourney, and Midjourney creates this. These are the types of things like it can create any kind of image. They're very artistic, and these are things that they're showing off that other people have created. So let's create a post. You can do all kinds of different settings and stuff. So this is a headline, so I'm going to make it really narrow. It's going to be a header on top of my blog post. Stylization, you can make it really weird or really normal or whatever. And I'm just going to paste in what it's supposed to be. Photorealistic landscape of a blah, 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 right? And I'm going to submit that. I'm actually going to do a few of these. And I've just sent that off a bunch. And I'm going to bump up the stylization so you can kind of see what that looks like. Just see if it gets weird. And then let's go over here to ChatGPT. 4.0 can also generate images. And so if I'm over here and I ask Claude, I say, I tell Claude to generate the image, it's not going to be able to do it. Sorry, I know you want to, but I recommend these ones. All right, I'll do just that. And so I'm over here and I write that prompt to OpenAI. And GPT-4 probably can do something. It's not going to be as good as this. I mean, my goodness, look how gorgeous that is, right? So you can which ones do I want? And I can obviously tweak this and stuff, but let's say this is my Alpine one and I really like this one. I'm going to upscale it, subtle and creative, because right now the image, when you really zoom in on it, it's kind of pixelated and stuff, right? Because it's just a quick version that it generated. Okay. And then so now it's over here generating high resolution images, and Claude or ChatGPT is over here. They don't have all the dials to adjust the stuff. You have to, manually or adjust it with text. Actually, it's not too bad. It just doesn't. It's not going to have that beautiful framing and stuff that we're able to get. It's 15% coming through. Yeah, it's a fine image, but you can tell that like it's just a different. Yeah, exact. This is a perfect example. Like, look at that, right? It's a fine image. It's insane that a computer can do this, but it's not like this, right? It's not the same quality or anything even relative to the same as Midjourney, right? Okay. Uh, I'm kind of excited for this thing to be done so we can zoom in on it just a second. Bear with me. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay. So, but different models are good for different things. Um, yeah. Write me a AI image generation prompt for a diagram that turns a diagram that illustrates how a bill in U.S. Congress goes from a bill to a law. And yeah, just did a lot of the cleaning up of my bumbling around of text there. So I'm going to use AI to come up with a prompt for how to create a flowchart, create a clean educational diagramming, blah, blah, blah. Step one is introduction to the House and Senate. Two is committee markup and stuff, right? Um, this is good, but I want very clear, short text labels for each step of the process. Yes, perfect. Introduction, committee, chamber vote, all that kind of stuff. Perfect. Let's go Midjourney. Let's see if Midjourney can handle it. It can't. Spoiler alert. We're going to go over to GPT. We're going to give GPT a fair chance and give it a couple of tries at it. So it's getting started over here. It's getting started over there. Oh, okay. So now this is great. Look how gorgeous this diagram is that Midjourney made. It shows the idea is perfect, right? You can tell it shows the different steps going through. You've got this Congress building in the middle and stuff. But when you actually inspect to see what's going on here, it's nonsense. They're not even words. It's got this loose combination or this loose idea of what a word is. But like, first of all, there's definitely not 9 steps here. That's not written in English, and then all of a sudden you start showing random countries' parliamentary buildings. Like it's it's like a fever dream of a diagram for showing how like a bill becomes a law. It knows the idea that there's numbered steps, and it knows there's lines, and it knows you show like the two different sides of Congress. Like this is a beautiful representation of Congress. It like the information is laid out perfectly. It's just like the words aren't real. So that's where the current state is for Midjourney for image creation. So if you're making a beautiful headline, perfect. If you want a scientific diagram, you might want to go with your buddy ChatGPT. Isn't this wild? So it even stole the silly "I'm Just a Bill" song. So it actually goes through, and you'll see some things are spelled weird, and you'll see some things aren't quite right, and you can go in and tweak, say, "Oh, that's fine," but you can guide the AI in iterative responses. But you know, yeah, it's not right. Like this is not incorrect. This is not correct. Introduction committee, second chamber, president goes to law override, final pass. Oh, maybe it is. Okay. Regardless, like you can tell like it's a different like tier of quality, and you can guide this thing just like any other kind of prompt. But so if you want a scientific diagram, it's not beautiful like this, but it's got English words on it, right? And so this is one of the many, many things you just have to play with the different AI models. Oh, this one's fantastic at this subset of things. Then you layer these on top of each other. So I'm using like one AI model to record my voice, which spits it out to another AI model, which turns it into an image prompt. And I use that image prompt on another AI model to generate the image. And just these are just building blocks that you stack. All right, let's keep going. my volleyball clinic, after 7 minutes and 26 sources and 57 web searches, I now have a guide to youth volleyball programs in Arlington and McLean. Uh, there's the Elite Volleyball Club with some links to the websites. There's the different volleyball clubs and training centers. This has gone off, and these are all legit things. Like my daughter definitely goes to club stuff at St. James, and there's a nice little table talking about the schedule and the season. This is the kind of stuff that's life changing, where you've got a model that just is going to go off and do your job for you. It's going to organize your Girl Scout stuff. This is the kind of stuff that's huge. And how to support your daughter's volleyball development at home, strength and conditioning, social support and fun. It's I throw everything at my life through this. Let's see what else is going on. Angel investments. Oh, it's really digging deep in there. I guess only spent 7 minutes on my volleyball, but there's a lot going on. Eastern European strategy still working. All right. We'll let that stuff keep churning away. Let's go see what's next on my list. Okay, back to Bear. Oftentimes, I will. You'll hear people talk about context when you're building an AI prompt, and I use Bear to keep things like, here is about spider strategies. It's a set of frequently asked, or it's information about spider strategies that's from our website. I just went and stole the information, and I'm storing it here. So whenever I have to tell the AI what spider strategies is, my company, I have a chunk of text I can paste. Here's spider impact frequently asked questions. Frequently asked questions about spider impact. That kind of stuff. And so you just develop a library of things that you can just throw to an AI. So this is going to be a press release. We are releasing a new piece of functionality in our software called apps. I want you to use all of the information provided below and write a professional press release advertising the release of apps functionality in Spider Impact. Here's info about Spider strategies. Go and grab information about Spider. And this type of stuff where I'm building up just chunks of information is most of what I do. Here's info about the product. And we've got, I've got tone guidelines, for our marketing. If we're going to create a new marketing piece, it should sound like this. These are our pain points. These are how we help customers. We do a lot of marketing stuff with AI assisted. And again, we read through everything and we tweak the language, but it saves, 90% of the work. And then the last 10% is, what we do. Here is attaches the GitHub issue where we developed it. And so we do all of our issue tracking in GitHub. It's the new app section. And you can see I originally wrote up the enhancement. I did a bunch of mocked up screenshots, and then we started coding it. And there are 47 sub issues of little bugs that came up along the way, or little tweaks or whatever. There's the developers and the testers going back and forth and about the development process. And at the very end, the tester says, okay, we're ready for a second pass of testing, and I think it's good, right? So I'm going to save this whole thing as 40 pages of PDF on my desktop. And this is the kind of stuff AI is insanely good at, where it takes tons of information and it distills it down into something smaller. When you try to take a little information and blow it up into something bigger, you get some problems. But when you take large amounts of information and distill it down, things are great. So I'm going to take this massive press release prompt. This is absolutely a job for Claude. I'm going to put into extended thinking mode. It is. Good. There's my PDF file. Oh, it's too big. Huh. Oh, does this model not support? This model might not support PDFs, honestly. Um, but it's so let's go to that's probably the issue. This one doesn't support PDFs. So I would probably really want Claude to write my press release, but in this situation, I'll just and I would copy and paste. I would just go here and Command A. Actually, I might as well just do that. I'll run through both things. Here's the GitHub issue. And boy, you can throw some messy stuff at an AI. I just pasted in a bunch of nonsense. Like, look at all this crap from the issue. Just a lot of it is just nonsense stuff, like 40 issues complete. It's just the entire web page just dumped in, and it's going to be smart enough just to ignore all the nonsense and grab the relevant information. It's a bunch of crap that I don't even need to clean up. All right. Is that too big? No, it's not. Perfect. All right. So that's going to do that thing. I'm going to go back to the original press release. Copy that and see if this thing can handle the PDF file. But if you've got a bunch of PDFs, then you have to use like a different model like this. So it's interesting like that. Press release. Spider Strategies unveils apps functionality for Spider Impact, enabling custom applications from strategic performance data. It's got today's date on there, key features of Spider Impact apps, about Spider Strategies, and media contact at left blank. We'd put that in. So this is a legit press release that we could totally send out today. Obviously, we would tweak some wordings. Looks like somebody got a quote in there. Yeah, it's pretty great. Let's see what ChatGPT came up with. Spider Strategies unveils apps and Spider Impact, redefining task-specific data experiences for strategic performance. And it gave, key highlights about Spider Strategies. So there's a template, right? And it knows about the template and it follows it. So press release done. But the point of that whole thing is I wanted to show you how I build these prompts out of building blocks. Here's a piece about Spider Strategies. Here's our writing standards. Here's about our product, and then give it a command and with some unique information like the GitHub issue or whatever. There's just a couple more things I wanted to cover. So let's talk about spreadsheets. A lot of people, here's a spreadsheet. Pull it up here. Here's a spreadsheet that has test data in it. They're fake customer names, point of contact first name, last name, point of contact number, email, company address, all this stuff. We use this for testing our software. I've got 3,000 fake customers in here. Yeah, exactly 3,000 fake customers. And I'm going to save this to my desktop. And I'm going to save this as a CSV file. This are the two technical things to take away from this. One is Markdown. You store text in Markdown where you've got the bolds with the stars around it and the bulleted list with those little dashes. And CSV files, it's comma separated values. They're text file versions of a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. And AI does so much better with CSV file spreadsheets than Excel spreadsheets. And Excel saves them in both formats. You can save it in Excel or you can save it in CSV, which is what I will do to my desktop. These models can write code to do really interesting things to your spreadsheets, which is fantastic. So let's go back to 4.0, a new chat, and I'm going to say, I've got this prompt already written. Here's a spreadsheet of fake customers that I use to test our software. Create additional columns populated with middle names and ages and allow me to download it. We're going to put this over here, and I'm hoping the AI is going to write code to generate these names because there's 3,000. I don't want it to go through it one at a time and generate 3,000 names. So it took a look at the spreadsheet. Perfect. Look at this. It's importing pandas. It's writing some Python code to read about it, and it's looking at the first. Well, it's got all the records there. All right, so it's doing some analysis. All right, it's generating some fake middle names. and I could tell it, no, no, I need like 35 middle names, or I need, 200 unique middle names rather than these. It's generating some point of contact middle names, a random point of contact age is random between 18 and 75, uh, and it's spitting it out here. And now I can download my customer data. And this one now has a middle name for everybody. It's got a random age between 18 and 75 or whatever, right? And so this, you can imagine how this kind of stuff would be really, really helpful, because AIs can write code and execute the code. Even though you don't do the code writing, it can do really smart stuff. So what I used to do in Excel, and I used to do all kinds of pivot tables and all kinds of fancy stuff, you can just verbally tell the AI to do it and it'll do it for you. You'll say, here's a spreadsheet. I want you to fill this column in with the industry, and it'll do Google searches or whatever on whatever the company's name is and fill in the industry box, that kind of stuff. So if you find yourself doing spreadsheets at work, AI is completely invaluable. You might notice here that the like, are you worried about sensitive data getting out and sending to these models? So first of all, if this were real customer data, I 100% absolutely would not be sending my customer first names, last name, phone numbers, emails. I would not be sending that to an AI regardless. If this were strategic data, like a list of all of my customers, like as in like the business names, Ford Motor Company, Walmart, that kind of stuff, would I want my competitors to know the all of my customers because they could reach out and steal them? I wouldn't want to just publish that. But it's not really an ethical concern. If I'm sending this information to an AI, I don't think it matters that the AI knows Walmart exists and it buys software. So I'm not worried, like there's no personal identifiable information. So there's no ethical concerns there. So the only question is, am I, if as long as that's not an ethical problem, I'm okay sending sensitive information for my company out there, because you can actually make this stuff private. So in all of these AIs, there's customization settings, and let's see here. Is it personalization? Maybe data controls, improve the model for everyone. That means whatever you type and send to this thing, we're going to remember and use it to train your model. Turn this off. Improve the model for everyone? No way. Same thing with Claude. And that's another reason why you pay for these accounts. Some of these things you can't turn off, improve the model for everyone unless you pay for it. Let's go over to settings, privacy, probably location. That's okay. Account. I actually think because I have a paid account, I would look into it. I would recommend looking into it. But I think because I have a paid account, they don't train their model on that. But again, before you start sending private, stuff that you wouldn't want published out in the world out there, definitely research this. Every single one of these models that you pay for can turn off the ability to train your models on your data. Okay, the video's over. We are 50 minutes in. Thank you for your patience. Uh, I am going to show you one more thing. This is not what I want random people to do, but I just want to show you the types of things that AI is doing if you're on the super technical side of things, and the types of things that are possible. Uh, but again, this is just like as the credits are rolling, a little bit of extra fun information. Again, most folks aren't going to be doing crazy stuff like this, but this is just kind of a fun postscript to the whole lesson. So AI, as much as it's been changing the regular corporate world, it's been absolutely like a tidal wave of change coming at the software development world. These tools, this kind of stuff is absolutely wild what it's possible of doing. So there's command line utilities. A lot of this is like stuff that you have to type or whatever. But here, I'm just going to solve a problem. There's this concept called vibe coding, where you just let the AI go off and write code for you, and then executes the code, and you can do all kinds of great stuff. So here I am on my desktop. It's listing all the files. Here's recording, stream back. So these are all just the files right here on the desktop. Okay. I'm going to type Claude, and my best friend Claude Code comes up. And I say to Claude, I would like your help writing a script. I've got a Mac and I want a script file to live on my desktop. Let's make it a shell script. And when I double click this shell script, I want you to take a YouTube URL that is in the clipboard. I want to be able to go to YouTube, copy the URL of a video that's in the clipboard. And then I want to take you to take that URL and I want to use an app that I have on my computer already. I don't remember what it's called, but it's a command line utility that takes a YouTube URL as an argument and it downloads the video. So I want you to run that command line thing, find whatever app that is on my computer, use that thing to download the video, and then use Whisper. I have that on my computer. Use Whisper to do a text transcription of the video. So I have a transcription of the video. And then, do whatever cleanup to delete any temporary files or whatever you created. The entire time I want incredibly verbose output, so I can see every step of the way what this script is doing. And as you're building this script, test this thing every step of the way. I don't want you to just dump a script on me and say, hey, it works without even trying it. Incrementally build this script one step at a time, and I want you to test this script one step at a time. And finally, when you test this script, I will give you a YouTube video to use to test the script. Do you have any questions? So that was a lot, but I think it can do it. So I just told it how to write software. I mean, I told it what software I want. So this thing is going to write me some custom software that I can use to solve my specific tasks. In the software development world, we're finding that, part of our job is just having AI write throwaway apps that you use once or twice, or maybe this is a script. Because what I'm going to be able to do, there might be a YouTube video that I just want to turn into a transcript. So watch this. All right. Oh, it's still working. So it found it's YTDLP. That's the app I use to download YouTube videos. I actually didn't know what it was, but I wanted it to find it for me. It found it. So it's looking through my computer and doing all these things. So it's created a set of tasks, identify the YouTube download utility and test it. It did that. Now it's doing create a basic script. So it's writing the basic script. It's asking for permission. Do you want to be able to create it? Yes. And don't ask again. It's got some safeguards on there so it doesn't go crazy and, hack the whole world. If the AI becomes sentient, I can slow it down. All right. Yes. It's just asking for permission to do various things. I'll require you. So it's writing the code, add YouTube download functionality. While this is working, let's find a video out there. This is a very probably interesting subject matter. Unraveling molecular molecular roads leads to Alzheimer's disease, blah, blah, blah. It's a talk at Harvard Medical School.
And I'd like to just read.
It's a potentially dry subject, but
there's normal memory. This is just a little view of whether.
It's an hour-long talk at Harvard Medical School, and I'm not a scientist, and it's pretty dry for folks who aren't into it. But the subject matter behind it is probably super interesting. So this could easily be a congressional testimony that goes on for hours and hours or whatever. So I've got this YouTube video. This is the one I want. I'm going to copy that video. And then, once the script's done, I double click that script and it'll spit out a bunch of text and it'll turn the whole thing into text. And I can use that text to answer questions with an AI. So let's keep working. This thing's still plodding along. So it's writing a script, testing it, fixing it, writing it, testing it, fixing it. And it's just going through this iterative process. This is called vibe coding. I am not looking over every single line of code here. I'm letting the AI do its thing. And it's solving my problem for me. And when I'm done, I peek in and I check on it. All right, it looks like it's not doing anything crazy right now, and it keeps doing its thing. So this is really vibe coding here. I'm going to copy that URL, so it's in my clipboard. I'm going to double click YouTube transcribe.sh. Oh, okay. So here's the YouTube script that it wrote. It was opening it. So I'm going to drag this script over to terminal or whatever. I can change that. Okay, what's it saying? Script is running. It is downloading the video, so it's totally happening. It's all happening behind the scenes. So all I did was I copied and pasted the YouTube video. I dragged this thing over here. Now I would change this. I would fix it so that when you double clicked it, instead of opening the script in my code editor, it would actually execute the script. That's an easy change to make. You can also right click open with and go to, well, I guess it's on the list, but whatever. So it's downloading the video right now. We'll give it some time. Okay. It just did its thing. There's the text. Hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. So the full text of the transcript. So what I did is, so I went to YouTube, I copied this URL, and I dragged the script over here. After quite a bit of processing, it spit out this text. Then I'm going to go over, start a new conversation, drop this thing in, upload it. So this is from a YouTube video. I didn't actually watch the YouTube video. Can you quickly summarize this for me? I'm not a scientist.
Of course. The talk is an introduction by Dennis McCarrow, who introduces Associate Professor Young Pierce. She's an expert in neurology at Harvard Medical School.
No. Short summary. What is the talk about? What technology are they talking about?
Got it. The talk is about new approaches to understanding and treating Alzheimer's disease. Professor Young Pierce discusses using human stem cell models, basically growing brain cells from patients' own cells, to study the disease. She highlights how these models can help uncover personalized therapeutic targets and lead to more effective treatments for neurological diseases like Alzheimer's.
So personalized. So it's the concept here that, like, in the future, someone would go to a doctor and they would grow or whatever, some sort of a thing. You get like a shot, and it's specialized just for you.
Exactly. The idea is to create treatments that are tailored to an individual's unique genetic makeup and disease profile. By using a person's own cells to generate brain cell models, researchers can identify the specific molecular causes of their condition and develop more effective, personalized therapies.
So is this kind of thing like early phase, or is it like how far along are they?
It's still relatively early stage in terms of clinical application, but it's making significant progress. The technology and methods for generating these personalized brain cell models have advanced a lot over the past decade, and researchers are optimistic about translating these findings into real world therapies in the coming years. So it's not ready for widespread clinical use yet, but it's definitely moving beyond the basic.
So that's a lot better. I mean, again, some processing time and stuff, but with this little piece of vibe coded software now, I'm able to quickly turn YouTube videos into something I can talk back and forth with an AI to get questions. Because sometimes there'll be a talk or a congressional hearing or something like that that's like hours and hours and hours long, and I do not want to sit through it. And by having it turned into a transcript and then dumping it into an AI, I can go on a walk again and talk with the AI just on the like I was doing here, and get question and answers, which is pretty handy. So like, because I've uploaded that thing and I've got ChatGPT on my phone, I can resume the conversation where I was. Hey, I just remembered, what is the technical name for what they're doing with this therapy?
The technical term for this kind of approach is induced pluripotent stem cell (iPSC) technology. They take a patient's cells, like skin or blood cells, reprogram them into iPSCs, and then differentiate them.
So once I've uploaded that spreadsheet, I can resume that chat anyways, at any point, or even 2 months from now, which is super, super helpful. I've got the entire video just here as a transcript. So that's it. Thanks for sticking around to the bitter end. Good luck. Have fun.